Oh. Hi, everyone, and welcome to episode 7 of Kokoon. And on this episode, I have Natalie McIvor, the Vibrational Healer. So welcome, Natalie. Thanks for being our next guest on Kokoon.
Thanks so much for having me. I'm so looking forward to this.
Excellent. So why don't you start at the very beginning? So can you tell me, how did your journey in this particular field of work begin?
Oh, well, about 20 odd years ago, kicking and screaming, didn't believe in anything, didn't have a crystal, I did yoga, but I did it as part of a gym program. My whole life was black and white. And it was the old paradigm of, you do these things, you set a goal, you accomplish it, you move on, you do the next one. Anybody that talked woo-woo stuff or, talked about our thoughts create our reality and things like that, I was like, yeah, no, not happening. So I had no belief at all in this industry. Didn't consider any of it of any value, didn't understand it, didn't even bother to explore it, just went, nope, not having my faith put into something that's not tangible. And, I am a Capricorn, so I like things nice and organized. And if you follow these steps, these are the results that you're going to get. And over time, people had, invited me to different circles and given me books on these sorts of practices. And I was like, yeah, this is not for me at all. I don't need this. And then all of those things that I had shoved down, pretended didn't existed, and pretended that I was over all of those pains and wounds of my past, all came up at once, all exploded with my divorce. And I was not in a good place, 3 little kids, and like, now what? Because, that goal, that plan wasn't there anymore. And somebody asked me if I would take them to an essential oils gathering. And I went, oh, yeah, sure. Oils is nice and harmless. You're not going to try and convert me to anything. I'll go. And I couldn't take my eyes off Soraya. Soraya is a local healer, yogi, incredible gifted person on the Sunshine Coast. And she was doing the demonstration. And I couldn't take my eyes off her. I felt like she was so familiar, but I knew I'd never met her. And then we were doing a meditation. I thought, oh, my God, how long is this going to last? Oh, we have to stop. She's going to she's going to do all this stuff. Like, how long till I can get out of here? And so I was sitting there with my little eyes closed and my little fingers like this, like complaining in my head about how uncomfortable it was. And she placed her hand on my heart. And I thought I was having a heart attack. The pain in that space was insane. I couldn't get a breath. I was panicking. And she just kept whispering to me, going, just keep breathing. Your heart's opening. I'm going, oh, my God, shut it. Don't open my heart. This is how much it hurts. And out tumbled all of this stuff that I had thought didn't matter. Thought didn't matter at all. If I don't have a feeling about the feeling, then it can't possibly bother me, can it? So that began my journey with exploring more about who this amazing person Soraya was. And I did my Reiki training with her. And pretty much the rest is history. 20 odd years later, this is absolutely everything I embody and grow all the time through spirit, through source, through shamanic practices, and through really embracing those ancient principles of we are the creator of our world. And if we're not happy with how that's showing up, how we can change that.
Yeah, wow. And so now you have a very busy business, a wellness business, because you do courses, you run workshops, and you do coaching, and what other sort of things do you do in your business?
I do shamanic training through the Munich rites, which am I also within my shamanic retreats. A lot of my trainings I've put online now as well, and I've had some amazing contacts with people overseas doing my cacao training and things like that. So all of my work just kind of blends into each other. The purpose is the same, supporting people to heal and let go of the past, but also embrace who they're here to become so that we can create our lives from a different space, not the old space where we held on to the wounds or the dramas, the challenges, etc. So people will often come to me for healing, and end up doing all of my trainings with me, coming to retreats, being part of my community. And that's what I'm really passionate about, providing that space for people at any level of their development, spiritual development and business development, who want to create conscious businesses to learn those tools and how to actually grow profitable businesses, as well as making a massive difference.
Absolutely. And so how do you maintain your energy levels, because you're looking after a lot of people? you're running a whole community. So how do you keep your energy levels up to be able to do everything?
I do have daily practices. While they're not very structured and while, they don't take a long time, I have lots of mini rituals throughout the day that keep me grounded, that keep me out of my head and out of any kind of fear or anything that wants to come up for me. But mostly for me, it's about nature. The beach is a massive reset for me. But if I can't get to the beach, even standing out on the lawn, any time of the day or night, taking the moment to like look at the trees that surround my backyard, to hear the birds, to be in that space with them. And I feel like I get cleared, protected, and energized by connecting with the elements and connecting with nature as often as I can.
Yeah, I can totally relate to that one too. And do you ever have any really intense periods of work that are almost quite psychologically, emotionally taxing? And when you do, you see them coming, like, how do you soothe yourself after those sorts of periods?
I feel like for the last 6 months, every single day has been like that. Every single week has been like that. That when we're working with the past, when we're working with past lives, when we're working with our mind, body, and spirit, anything is possible to come up. So someone might come to me for a massage, for instance, and they're coming because they want some body work and they want to relax. And they can have a massive transformation, a massive release on the table, and they don't even know where it came from. So pre-planning is impossible for me to kind of think, oh, this is what I've got booked in this week, so this is going to happen, which means that I'm constantly in my own work and my own beliefs and my own practices. And when that's not enough for me to ground and center myself and kind of check out a little bit from all of those energies, then I go to somebody else in my field. I give them my stuff and go, hey, can you support me in transmuting that? But I do spend a lot of time on my own. If I'm not working, my time is pretty much on my own. So there's a lot of silence in that space. There's a lot of no expectation. And I don't have, my children are all grown up now, so I don't have other people to put before me. So for the first time in my life, I can actually recenter myself because there's nobody else that needs my time or energy. And that alone time is probably the greatest reset for me, because some weeks I can have like 40 people moving through my business and my practice and my trainings. And that's a lot of emotions, a lot of feelings, a lot of characteristics, and a lot of triggers for me. So sometimes the biggest growth for me is after those really intense periods when I can step back and go, what was that all about for me?
Yeah, and I totally agree too with having time on your own. I think it's really important to just reflect and just have that quiet time.
Yeah,
it's really powerful. And reflecting on the beginning of your career, what do you wish you knew then that you know now that would help you with maintaining your own wellness?
I wish I had trusted myself more, and I wish I had done, if that's correct.
I know what you're saying.
More training. I wish that I had actually kept training and upskilling. Not long after I did my Reiki training, I started to follow the voices in my head that they all told me would start to drop in when you worked with the universe, when you worked with spirit. And that voice said to move to Vanuatu and open a healing center, which I did. So removing myself over there was an incredible experience, especially for my young children. However, it put me behind many years because I didn't have access to training. There weren't online programs back then. We didn't have internet. We didn't even have Facebook. So I feel like I know what I know now because I've been upskilling and upgrading and working with other people and trusting that I could create this. And I spent a lot of time thinking that I couldn't do that I wasn't good enough, that even though I had this skill and this ability, it was learned. So I wasn't as good as everybody else anyway. So I wasted a lot of time thinking, I don't know how to grow a successful business, and I don't know how to do more than just do a Reiki treatment. So I kind of feel like I wasted a little bit of time there.
Yeah, that must have been very interesting doing that and opening a wellness centre. When did you come back to Australia after doing that?
2008.
Okay.
Been back a really long time now.
Yeah. And we actually met because you were keen to learn about TikTok, and I've been you're doing great on TikTok, and your follower numbers are going up. I keep popping in and checking in, see how you're going, and so it's going really well. But we all know that social media can be a real it can really take time. It can divert your attention without you even knowing it, and sometimes trying to use it consciously can be a struggle. So how do you navigate the use of social media to help you to sort of build and connect with your audience, but without it damaging your own wellness? Like, what sort of boundaries do you put in place to be able to do that?
It's certainly a tricky one. Who hasn't found themselves just scrolling and thinking, what am I doing? And
particularly on TikTok.
And I think sometimes because I do live on my own and I spend so much time on my own, that it feels a bit engaging to me. Like, what's everybody else doing today? Oh, wow, look at that. Wow, look at that. So when I'm feeling that, I just keep going. But when I feel like, what am I doing? I'm just sitting here like on autopilot. I turn it off and put it down. Years ago, I finally worked out, because I was very slow to mastering, and I certainly have not mastered social media, but I was very slow to getting stuff with technology. And I didn't know how you could turn off notifications and stuff like that. And I had a businesswomen's network, Enlightened Goddesses, and my notifications were going day and night. And I realized how much stress I got from that, because I was like, oh, better answer. What sort of person am I if I don't? So I felt like I needed to constantly respond to everybody the minute that they messaged me. So I've been really aware of that this year, that to keep the times that I post or check really limited and at different times of the day, so that, they're not becoming just aimless. But a big turning point for that was actually doing that training with you, Karen, because learning how to do your posts and your videos, etc., more succinctly means that you're not spending hours creating them before you can put them on there. So that was really an instrumental tool that you taught me on how to do this, and this, and pre-record some things and have them banked up there, so that I'm not actually thinking, oh God, I've got to post all these posts today.
Yeah, and it's true. And the notifications, I think that's a really good one. Just turning them off and turning the sound off. Like I did that for my work emails. It was at the height of the pandemic, because I was starting to get a twitch in my eye, every time I'd hear and I'm like, I can't go on like this. And I just turned the sound off, and even doing that, I just felt calmer. And my phone's been on silent forever. So so it's just easier, and then that way you're actually making a decision to check rather than like reacting every time, I think.
It was like constantly being switched on, and I got a twitch in my eye too. Interesting that you say that, because I had 3 email accounts. I had the Facebook, I had Instagram, I had notifications, I had text messages, and I was like, oh my God.
Ding, 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 ding.
It was me thinking I had to respond immediately. And when I did switch them all off, the sound of them, then I realized, when people put you into a group and not everybody answers, because I would pick up my phone and be like, 23 messages. what have I missed? Has something dreadful happened? And then realized that was creating some anxiety for me. So however I did it, I don't remember. But now, unless I go in, I can't actually see that there's any there. And that's been amazing, because then I've got control over when I check, when I go and have a look, and when I don't. It's, we don't want social media to take over our lives and businesses. It's a fabulous tool and a powerful tool for engagement and learning and all of those sorts of things. But, it's devices, you just waste so much time if you're not disciplined in staying off them, putting them somewhere where you can't check them,
That's right. And it's a tool. Like, it's not like it doesn't run you, like, you run it. So, but so it can be so easy, to get lost in it.
Yeah.
And so I was wanting to know, what are some of the, do you have a story of a really positive transformation that you have had with someone in your business that you could share?
Wow. There are so many, people often will come to me for business mentoring and it becomes personal. They'll come for personal mentoring and it becomes professional. And, there's been quite a few beautiful babies born whose parents were struggling to conceive them, which is something that I'm really proud that I could support these beautiful people with their babies. Other times people have come telling me that they were so desperate they thought that there wasn't a point to them continuing to live any longer. And I'm very grateful that they changed their mind about that after some care and love. But some of the greatest transformations in the last couple of years, as I've been training more and more people, is seeing people change careers, seeing people wanting to live their soul purpose and wanting to be trained and skilled in the wellness industry, not necessarily energy healers, all sorts of people, yoga, Pilates, people with shop fronts, all sorts of people who want to have a business with soul, a conscious entrepreneur, will often come because there's so many doubts in your mind when you want to do that, and all your fears come up and all your not good enoughs come up. And the journey with some of those people in my life have been that they've come to a session or a cacao ceremony, they've trained with me, they've mentored with me, and they've learned how to let go of the old paradigm, the one that I was so attached to, of this is the way it is, and actually bring in all of their abilities to do stuff and make stuff happen, but connect in with the universe, with spirit, with their own soul to actually create their businesses that way. And my clients that follow that progression with me tell me that regular check-ins with me when they hit a bump in their business really supports them in that next level of expansion for themselves, that next level of raising their vibrational frequency so they can be above that fear or that challenge. And then they get the drop in of what next they need to do in their business. And that's the key to what I'm seeing is creating successful and financially successful conscious entrepreneurs. It's not enough. We were talking about this before. It's not enough just to have a skill, one thing that you're offering, and then sit there and wait for people to come. It's a full-time job running a part-time business. It's a full-time job, learning everything, being in the work yourself, so you're constantly upgrading yourself, and having a team that you can go to that support you in not falling into negative beliefs or patterns or programs. And that's probably been the greatest transformations is in the last couple of years. I've seen, I don't know, hundreds of business operators and either adding to their current business or expanding it or creating something completely new, and their hearts are on fire, their soul is on purpose, and they're making the money. They're making more money, myself included, than I did when I worked for the government. That's alignment. That's so satisfying for me.
Yeah, absolutely. And this sort of leads on to my next question. So I was going to ask you what your plans are, what your goals are for 2023.
Yeah, awesome. Well, watch this space. I'm not a goal writer. I left that one go 20 odd years ago as well. And now I just, ask the universe, what's next? How can I create greater here? What do I need to do next? So my mind is thinking at the moment. I'm always very careful about that because the universe usually comes in and slaps that out of the way. And next minute I'm creating something completely brand new, like these online programs that I've never done before. But my intention is to continue to offer my programs and my face-to-face training to support people moving confidently into this industry, to expand my shamanic retreats, because they are the most incredible deep dive into your own healing, not just for you, but your ancestral healing. And you learn the certifiable Munich rights program, so you can go and teach that in your own businesses as well. Everything I teach so that people can go and receive the return on investment immediately, that they can expand their businesses, that they can contribute more. And the new program, the new project that is brewing at the moment as we speak, is to actually jump into a more mentoring, a more membership, a more supportive platform for people in this industry, any industry, those with conscious entrepreneur skills, those that are wanting to expand and know from here to here what they need to do to be able to grow their businesses and expand and be super profitable. The time of the struggling light worker, the struggling healer, the struggling conscious entrepreneur are gone. We've got a big job to do here. And to do that, we need to be able to engage with bigger audiences. And that's a real passion of mine. It always has been. And this new program that we launch next year will be a great platform for that as well.
Excellent. Well, I can't wait to hear more about that when it comes live.
Me too.
Yeah.
I'm looking forward to knowing what that is. Trust.
I just can't wait to hear what the universe tells you what it is. So it's going to be great. And our final sort of question or topic to chat about in this episode was really talking to people working in the wellness space who are just starting out. And what would you advise them so that they don't burn out? Because I know often, and I see it too, where people they train and they get ready to launch, and they just want to help everyone, which is really wonderful, but often to the own detriment of their own well-being. So what advice could you share to just help people to stay well while they're helping others?
Yeah. You've really got to look after yourself. You've got to watch your diet. You've got to watch your rest. You've got to do all the old-fashioned things. Drink lots of water, eat well, sleep well, be around people that support and uplift you. Have balance, which is super, super hard. I'm not the greatest creature in the world at that. Once again, when you are on your own, you live on your own, you don't have anyone else to look after. My day can sometimes start at 5 a.m. and finish at 11 o'clock at night because it's so exciting and awesome to not be interrupted. I've been a parent a long time, and I cared for my grandparents for a long time. So this is kind of my first year of me and all of the space that I have for that. So I love my work. I love my business. It doesn't feel like a job. So I often will just keep going and going and going and going. So I have to watch for those same things that everybody does. If I'm getting tired, I just need to go to bed early. If I'm feeling run down, I need to go and have a massage, go and have a healing, those sorts of things. So all the same things that everybody knows, maybe even if you're starting out, to not go too big too fast, choose one thing, and which is what I've always done, one thing, and I do it well, and then I teach it, and then I do a new thing, and then I teach it, and so on and so on. So I kind of have that growing all the time. But if we're feeling like it's too much, if we're feeling overwhelmed, if we feel like we've taken on too much, then we have to also be brave enough to say, actually, I'm canceling this for the week, or I'm taking time out. and know that people will understand and respect that your care and your own self-care is really important as well. So sometimes we have to say no to ourselves and this brain and heart that wants to just keep giving and giving and giving, and say, actually, no, I have to say no now. Because, you know, when we get sick, and I had that lesson the beginning of the year, I got sick for 3 months, and it was just like, man, I should have slowed down 5 months ago, and I wouldn't have been so worn out. So yeah, I'm not the greatest of that either.
Yeah, but you know, like you live and you learn, and you know, I think it's great that you just share what's true for you, and yeah, and I'm similar. I'm often accused of working too much, but I still have, you know, I still make sure I do that, my daily sort of yoga practice. Even some of that times it's longer than others, but it's even if it's a little bit, just to it actually helps with my energy levels as well, and sort of clears my mind a bit too. So.
And that's important too, those mini minutes. You know, I live my life through ritual and ceremony, and sometimes that's 2 hours and sometimes it's 2 minutes, because we got to be careful we don't go into the wrongness. The minute we judge ourselves and make ourselves wrong for anything, that's when we open up all of these problems come in. So even little habits like getting up half an hour earlier and just sitting outside with water and just breathing and breathing in the new day, that might be all you get to. I say to people when I train them as well, you know, the only time you get on your own is when you go to the toilet, then breathe in there. Close your eyes and breathe in there. Have some conscious thoughts, you know, use that time wisely, because sometimes, you know, that's the only time people get on their own. And, you know, not always that either when you have young children, that's for sure. So mini moments, you know, mini moments of ritual bring you back into that moment, the present moment, and then move forward. And, you know, maybe 5 minutes less a day of social media scrolling is a great place to start.
Yeah, that's good advice.
Yeah.
It really is. Thank you so much. And so that wraps up episode 7. Do you have any final words to share before we wrap up the episode?
Yeah, if you have a dream, if you have a burning passion to actually live your purpose, to find out what it is, to follow your heart, then make that happen. Even if you still have to have a full-time job, even if you still have to have a family to look after, or a million other things that distract us, just find one thing and just do that, because it's so fulfilling. And when you trust that, it just grows and grows and grows and grows and grows. So always follow your heart. You know, your mind will tell you all sorts of things.
Thank you. That's an amazing way to end the episode. So thank you so much, Natalie. And I think this will be the last episode for 2022. And we'll see you, for episode 8 in 2023. So thanks everyone for watching, and we'll see you in the next episode of Kokoon.
Thank you.